Happy Saturday and welcome back to Scale Auto Guys Workbench. Today we're working on this 2021 Charger RT by AMT. This is a new tooling and let me tell you guys, it looks fantastic. After I pulled all of the parts out of the box and took a look at them, well, you'll see here in a minute. This kit consists of 144 parts. And it is really crisp and clean, and I am not kidding you. Here's your body, zero flash. There are a couple of mold lines back here by the corner of the C pillar, I guess. Yeah, ABC pillar, right there on the body, one on each side. There are a couple of swirl marks in the plastic in the roof line here. Those are going to be easy to take care of. There is a little bit of a swirl mark in the door as well. But other than that, this is a crisp, clean shot at that body. So let's take a look at the other parts in the kit. Now, I'm a little confused on this because usually the parts trees are somewhat kind of in order, like all your interior parts will be on one or two trees, your engine parts will be on one or two trees, your suspension parts, etc. Well, in the case of this kit, that isn't the case. And I'll show you here in just a little bit what I mean. But here's your front and rear fascias. Now these are nice because they have alignment pins. They go on the body, and I test fitted them, and they line up just perfectly. That's the rear end. Oop, get it the right direction here. Slippery little devil too. As you can see, that lines right up perfectly. And I'm not going to push it all the way on there, but basically, there you go. So that is really nice. There's no guesswork as to where the front and rear fascia panels go. Like I said, slippery little devils. I've dropped that part, or that tree, about 6 times already. Okay, on this one here, it gives you 2 different style wheels depending on which one that you want to go with. You'll have to paint them to match. They didn't do them in chrome or anything, and this is kind of better anyway. That way there you can get a more realistic tone, if you will, on these wheels, instead of have that real bright shiny chrome, which these didn't come in. They came in like an aluminum alloy, and those are not chrome by any measure. So you can paint those to match, and they make it easy for you to do that. Now here's your front and rear seats. Notice there's no seat backs here, and there's none on this tree. Now this is where it gets interesting. This is what I was talking about with the mix and match of parts on the trees. Here you have your brake discs, I believe that's your front grille. This is the lower grille, your seat backs. On the next parts tree, you get your side, I guess you could call those rocker panels. Your hood, which has got some swirling going on with that too. A little bit. I don't know if you can see that in the camera or not, but there is a little bit of swirling coming right off from where this connects. It kind of spiders out. Part of your exhaust system. On this one here, you have your suspension, some engine parts, and under hood stuff. On this next one, you have some more suspension parts, engine parts, your rear axle, and then your dash. See how interesting this is getting? This one here has your rear spoiler, engine, mostly all your under hood parts here, your pedals and your steering wheel. Notice the lack of flash, or, well, there is just a tiny little bit on that steering wheel, but that is it. And I just now noticed that. In the first glance, I didn't even see that. Here's your door panels. Your forward, I guess you could call that a dust cover. I'm not exactly sure what they call that. It goes underneath the car on the front end anyway, like an air dam. Separate windshield wipers. That's kind of cool. And this next one is your interior tub and some more engine parts. They kind of split them up amongst the trees. Now, one thing I noticed about this, when I first pulled this out of the box, this was stuck on the next tree. And by what I mean by that is, see these little pins here? Well, these line up with the 4 pins on your chassis. They're right here and here, down here again and here. So there's no guesswork as to where that interior tub mounts on the chassis. It drops right down on those pins, locks it in place. You know you got it in the right spot. There's no guesswork, and there's no futzing around with trying to get that lined up with the body when you put the body on the chassis. Here's the rest of your exhaust system. Now, your actual fins for your cooling fans were on another tree. Here's the housing that they go in. It's really kind of a Mod Podge tossed together of the parts on the trees. It's kind of strange. It goes against the norm, if you will. Here's a chrome tree, headlights, taillights. I was looking at the direction sheet, and there's a decal that goes over this chrome strip that goes under the clear red lens, and I don't know, in my mind it doesn't look right. In my mind, if you just kind of dress this up, it would look okay under the red by itself, but they have a decal for it, and I'll show you that here in a moment. Next up is your taillight lens. It gives you the side windows. Of course, those are optional if you want to put those in or not. They don't have any tinted or smoked glass for this vehicle, although on the kit box there, the box art, that has smoked windows. I guess you could tint those if you wished. I have never done that. I've used smoked glass when it was included in the kit, but I have never used anything to tint the glass. So I know that there's stuff out there, there's methods to do it. I have never done it, so there you go. Now, up next is the decal sheet. It gives you black, white, and silver decals, depending on which color you're going to paint your body. Here's the taillight decals that I was talking about. Now, I don't understand why you would put a black and gray taillight over a chrome piece that goes under the taillight lens. It's confusing to me. But anyway, gives you your dash gauges, radio faces, gives you a couple different choices on license plates, steering wheel decals, also Hemi decals, Charger and RT decals, your Dodge logos. So they give you a lot of choices in the decal sheet. So it's good for that. I mean, you know, you can dress it up any way you want it. Next up is and I almost forgot about these, the 4 hollow tires. They're not labeled in any way. They got a decent looking tread. I don't know if you can see that. Let me see if I can get that to focus. So, yeah. And these I don't mind. I generally don't like snipping the centers out of the tires. And I realize what they're there for. Obviously, they're there when they inject the tire in the mold. You know, it's got to have a feeder system so it gets an overall even tire. But I hate snipping these things out because you always end up either with little chunks hanging off, or you got a big gap in there where you took too much off. Oh well, it is what it is. So there's your tires, and thankfully all of them look to be shaped correctly. The last thing is the assembly instruction sheet. This kit has 31, let me get this unfolded, 31 steps. Oh, excuse me, 34 steps in its assemblage. So, and this says add striped decals before taillights. So it wants you to put that decal over this, and then put this on, and then put the lens on. That's the way I'm reading it. I might be incorrect. If I am, please leave a note in the comment section telling me that I'm screwed up. No, honestly, be nice about it. So anyway, there you go, 34 steps, 144 parts, pieces, blah, blah, blah. And, well, this one looks like it's going to be pretty simple. Looks like it's going to go together pretty well. Like I said, there's like very little cleanup I'm going to have to do on this, other than, you know, where I snip stuff off of the trees. I may have, you know, just have to hit that with a little sandpaper. Other than that, detailing is going to be nice. There's nice clean bottom here. Everything attaches to it, so you can paint that individually, and it looks like it's going to be fairly simple to put together. And well, like I said, well, there's a little bit of flash here and there, but gosh, hardly nothing for an AMT kit. This has like 0 flash. So let's get a few sub-assemblies together. I'm going to attach the front and rear fascia for painting, and I'm not going to permanently attach it because that comes later. You know, that's one of the final assemblies, is putting the front and rear fascia on. But I am going to put it on for the purpose of painting. I like doing that, so that way there I get a nice even coat amongst the parts. The hood, the front rear fascias, whatever, it's all going to have the same even coat of paint on it. It's not going to be, well, I got a little bit more paint on this than I did this, and now it's a different color. It's just easier that way. Okay, well, let's get these sub-assemblies put together. Seat backs and engine halves and all that fun stuff. And let's head over to the paint booth. let me show you the progress I've gotten on this build so far. I got the engine completed. That went together really well, no issues whatsoever. The alternator was a little tricky because it's got a flat side that goes against the water pump housing here. That's a little tricky to get in there, but it's not bad. The power steering pump fits right in there pretty easily. I mean, this thing went together. It was so amazingly easy. The exhaust manifolds, they had their own little slot in there. There was only one way they would go on. That was easy. The oil pan and everything was pretty easy to put in. Valve covers, cylinder heads, everything went on just without a hitch. So the engine is complete. I've been spending some time doing the interior parts. The seats turned out a little bit more shiny than I really wanted them to be, but I got them in the two-tone gray, and I'll show you the colors on that. The lighter colors are the rainy day gray of the Sanita's all-purpose acrylic paint. The darker color on the doors and seats is just regular gray from the same company. And for the floor, I use this Folk Art peppercorn. These are all matte finish paints, so I applied a little bit of future floor polish to give it a little bit of shine. It really gave it more shine than I really wanted it to. I might add something to that to dull it down a little bit. The dash, I still have to put the gauge decal, the radio decal in there. They actually give you decals for these air conditioning vents, but I feel like if you put the air conditioning vent decals in there, you're going to hide the detail of the vent. So I just went and painted the vents with a fine tipped brush. Just went in there with this, and just very easily, very lightly covered the grills and the air conditioning vents. They actually have a decal for this where the heater controls are here, and I don't know, that I've never had good luck with decals on a raised surface, especially something like this here. It usually never lays down for me, and it ends up either falling off or it just looks terrible. So I rarely ever put those on those. If it's a flat surface like that radio face there, it's going to go in there with no problems, and it'll lay down and whatever. I really like this kit because it has the separate armrests for the doors, and you can paint those and then install them, and they just look so much better, I think, than trying to detail paint what's already on the door. And so that turned out really well. And the steering wheel, of course, that's got a decal that goes on the center. The center console, that's made up of, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces all together. The gear shift is a separate piece. This black piece here is separate. The armrest here is separate, and of course the face on the back is separate. So that's where we are so far. I'm going to throw this all together, and I got to do those decals yet. So let me do those first, and then we'll move on to the next step. Alright fellas, I've been fiddling around with this front suspension for a few minutes now, and it is a little confusing, just a little confusing on how it goes together according to the direction sheet. Now some of you might not find this confusing, but I did for a little bit. Especially when it comes to these parts. Now it made it look like these hook to the struts down with that little eye that sticks out, and I thought the eyelet here hooked onto the back of the steering knuckle, but that's not the case. This does hook to the strut, but it just sticks up. This just free floats down into the hole down there. Then you put the cross member on. It's on step 16 where you put the steering rack and the torsion bar in there. That's where that little loop comes into play, and the little tab that sticks out from the steering knuckle. So that ends that confusion. I was trying to figure that one out, and test fitting the parts, and it just wasn't, in my mind, it wasn't fitting for some reason. So I've got the steering knuckles in there. They're just kind of free floating. I'm going to reattach these because I pulled them out. So I'm going to reattach them. Before I put them down in their place, I'm going to attach these to them, and then I'm going to drop them in. I'm going to drop this in, and then we're going to get ready to put the tie rods on, and the the torsion bar and the steering rack, which I have to get off the tree yet. Let's get that off right now. It was just ever so slightly confusing to me. The picture wasn't, to me, it wasn't very clear. And once I took a real close look at it and fit the parts as I went, I realized, hey, that's how it goes together. So there we go. And let's go ahead and get this done. Just a smidge too much glue there. Most times I can get that glue just right. Other times it comes out of there a little faster than I expect it to. And then, like there, it just come out of the blob. I wasn't expecting it. Okay. Something went a little crazy there. Let's see. Hold on. Now you kind of almost have to put this all together as quickly as you can so that your glue doesn't set up on you. I'm going to open the hole a little bit. Come on, glue, stop messing up. I think I accidentally squeezed the tube a little too much. Alright. I suppose if you wanted to take the time to do it, you could do these in steps, but I don't know that you could get those end links there in the right position. And so if you glued it ahead of time or whatever, and then decided to put it together, if you had them too far apart, then there would be problems. Okay. Now with all that comes step 15, which is the cross member. I see I'm going to have to do a little touch-up paint, and that's fine. I love when the pins just fit right inside that hole. You just go ahead and jam it on there, and it'll get glue all the way up the length of it. You don't have to worry about getting a big glob. Now, let's see if I can get all this to mesh together. Nope. Oh. There's too many parts and too many pieces that are involved in this. In my opinion, they could have made this just a little bit more, well, less complicated. Let's put it that way, less complicated. There we go. Alright, looks like I got the struts and everything in the right location. Everything's down tight the way it should be. Okay, and then this is next. This goes in. Let me take some of that paint off. So it'll fit into those holes. Now I did open up those holes a little bit before I did this, because I thought it went on those pins that were on the steering knuckles before I realized I was being stupid. Okay. Now, this has locating pins on this, so let's just go here. Yeah, it looks like it goes there like that. I can't go that way. Again, the directions aren't very clear. That can't be right. It shows it from... That cannot be right. Definitely does not go that way either. It shows it, I guess, well, the way the direction shows it, it shows it going this way, but the attachment points back here don't look right. Sorry if you guys can't see, I'm trying to look over top of the camera here. See, I don't see any holes back here. Let me try to come in from a different angle. No, nope, that ain't right. Alright, I'm going to pause the camera and I'll fiddle with this, and when I get back to you I'll have this done. See you in a second. Okay fellas, I got it. It wasn't easy, but I managed to get it. So, the torsion bar, which still doesn't sit down in there quite the way it should, goes on the back side here and here, then goes into the links here and here. I'm going to have to do a lot of touch-up painting because I had some trouble getting that in there. Now, if you want to have posable steering, now I don't know if they designed it this way or not. If you want posable steering, when you put that steering rack in there, you can leave it loose and you can have posable steering. Some guys like that, some guys don't. It's at this point in the build where you can decide whether or not you want to glue all this together and make those wheels straight all the time, or if you want to leave it loose and unglued and now you have posable steering. Because the way this is designed, this steering rack, although the steering rack in the actual car does not move, the tie rod ends move in and out to move the wheels. And realistically, I guess you could glue it here and here and make it stationary. But the way this is designed, it goes underneath this control arm here. So that, you know, there's not a whole lot of clearance in this area here. Just enough to get my blade through there. So that won't pop out of the hole that it goes into on the steering knuckle. So if you wanted to, you could leave this just like I have it, where it's posable steering. I'm not sure if I want to leave it that way or not. I'm just not sure. Now what's confusing about this as well is on the back side of this area here, unless, well, no, I figured out what that's for. Never mind. I was questioning why they had this little tab or this little button here, and it's on each side. And it just dawned on me what that's for. It's for the disc brakes. When you put the disc brakes on the car, and I haven't painted these yet, but you can see it has a little hole. These are the fronts, these are the backs, and they're going to have the little slot right there so that'll lock up on the axle. So this will become stationary, and your wheel, which will go up over this little split pin here, dealy thing, that'll lock that tire on there. The the pin and everything will hold the disc brake on there, and so that solves that problem. Anyway, let's continue on with this, and glad I got that done. That was really kind of nerve-wracking and kind of fiddly to get those parts in there, because you had to bend them around stuff, and I didn't really care for that, but it's there now. We're done. I just got to wait for that glue to dry, and I'm going to hit it with some of my gloss black paint to cover up all of the white plastic that's showing, and on to the next step, which is the firewall. I get to flip it over and do the firewall and all of the little doodads under the hood. Yep, we're on to those steps now. Well, just like that, I've got the engine compartment completed, as well as the suspension, as you already saw. I realized after I got all of the parts glued together on that suspension that these upper strut mounts were supposed to be body colored, as well as the fender wells. Oops, they're black. That's just the way they're going to be. The firewall I did paint body color. It may look a little silly, but anyway, the direction sheet shows that you should put the firewall in place before you put the engine in. That works, but might I make a suggestion here and have you reverse that? Put that engine in first before you put the firewall on, and let me show you why. Remember that cross member I had to put in just a little bit ago? Well, between the cross member and that firewall, it's hard to get that transmission. You know, you see you don't have a whole lot of clearance, so it's hard to get that engine and transmission down in there and get everything lined up. However, if you waited to slip this, because it doesn't attach to anything other than down here on the chassis, if you waited to put that on, you could just drop the engine straight in, then drop this down over it, and that would work out a lot easier and a lot better. That's one of the things I had problems with, because I followed the directions and it showed putting the firewall on, then the engine, and I think it works better if you do it in reverse. Other than that, the engine's all in, radiator's in, the upper radiator hose, your washer tank, and all of your other little under hood pieces are in, and we're ready to start on the rear suspension. That's the next steps. I want to let this set up just a little bit longer and let that glue cure for just a little bit longer, then we'll get started on that rear suspension. Okay, fellas, I got a little bit ahead of myself. I got the rear axle installed. That plugs right into the back of the engine, or excuse me, transmission, with no problems whatsoever. It glues down two little tabs back here, and then this goes over top of it. Now, I don't know if you've seen any of my other videos, but this is something I do when I know that the wheels are going to attach directly to the part here, and it's not going to be a metal axle or anything like that. I usually take a little bit of Scotch tape and I put them right over those little axles, or I guess you could call them axles, from right over those connecting points. So that way there I don't have a buildup of paint on those, and it'll allow the wheels to just snap right on there with no problems. And I like doing it that way. It really makes life a bit easier. That way there you don't have to fight to get your wheels over the axle studs there. Alright, that's a nice fit. Everything so far on this kit has been fantastic as far as fit and finish. It's kind of amazing, really, with the exception of, there's been a couple of times where I've had to take my number 11 blade and kind of bore out the hole a little bit because it was just a little bit too small. But other than that, everything has just popped right into place like it should. Now this is a two-piece exhaust system. Well, actually, technically 3 pieces. This is all one piece, and these are 2 separate pieces, but they interlock. And I didn't have to do anything but line it up, push it down there with my thumbnail, and then took my number 11 blade, got in the center, and just kind of pushed it down to seat it all the way. That went together beautifully. And then I had test fit this, and it just pops right into place. Bam. Done. Okay, well, I gotta put this little piece in first, but I just wanted to see, show you how that went together. And oh, okay, I see. So this piece goes down in here. Again, another one of those situations where I got to bore the holes out a little bit. That's the only problem I've found with this, and it could be just because I have paint down in them that it doesn't allow those pins to slide down in place. So in effect, what I'm doing is just kind of cleaning the paint out and widening the hole just a touch so that the part will just snap down in there. And there it is. And then your exhaust system goes on just like that. It's just another connecting point there with that pin and the hole on the bottom of the exhaust. Okay, let's get this finished up. I gotta glue this in yet. Getting ahead of myself. Getting down towards the end of life on that tube of glue, and it's starting to get a little stringy on me. That's a common problem with using the tube glue. But like I've said in posts and stuff like that, I wouldn't know what to do with any other kind of glue, because this is the only glue I've ever used. I'm used to what it does, and I'm accustomed to what it does, I should say. And not that I'm against using anything that's out of the ordinary. It's just yeah, I'm comfortable, I guess. You know, these parts fit together so tightly without glue. You almost want to go without glue. It's kind of weird. Oh, tab right there. Oh, y'all can't see what I'm doing. Sometimes you get going on these things and you don't pay attention to where that part is so that you can get it oh, doggone it. There we go. I got glue smeared all over where I didn't want it. Doggone it. Alright, everything's right in place. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. Now, the next step is putting these panels on. I keep bumping you guys, I'm sorry. That didn't help. Gotta put these panels on. I still have to put another coat of paint on there. It's still didn't get real good coverage. Where's the other one? I had it here just a moment ago. Here it is. Got too much stuff going on. Yeah, you see they both need another coat of paint, so let me throw another coat of paint on there, let that dry up, and we'll get these go back here. I'm not sure which side is which. Nope, sorry, they go this way. And they cover up this section of the floor. So I'll be right back with that. Okay, fellas, earlier in the video I was talking about the posable front suspension, and the camera got all out of whack, or I did. Something happened anyway, and you couldn't see what I was talking about. Let me show you what I was talking about. Now, when you put your steering rack in, you have, I guess the way it's designed, you're supposed to glue it all in so the wheels stay straight, and that's totally cool. You can do that, but if you don't glue it in, the tolerances between these lower control arms and where that hooks onto your steering knuckle is very close. You can just almost, you can get this number 11 blade in there, but that will hold this in place, and you can make this posable steering if you wish, just like that. It's not something that you're going to want to sit and play with a lot, but if you're having it on display and you want to change the front wheel, to where it's turning, you can do it. I'm not sure if the kit is actually designed to have posable front steering, but there you are. So it can be posable. All right, let's continue on with this. We're coming into the home stretch. I still have to do a little bit more work on the body. I got clear coat I got to add, and I'm not sure if I'm going to go with any stripes or not. Haven't made up my mind yet. Alright, fellas, we're coming into the home stretch here. I got a little bit ahead. That's okay. The taillights went in beautifully. So did the headlights and grill. I do have to give a little bit of word of advice here on all of the holes, like here and here, all of the holes in here. I would strongly advise taking a drill bit and opening those holes up. If you don't have a pin vise drill, you can use your number 11 blade. Open those holes up just a little bit, because otherwise those pins don't fit down into the holes real well. If you open them up, these parts just pop right down into the openings like they should. The same can be said for the chassis. Now, I test fit the body over the chassis, and there's a couple of holes here and here, and back here you have 2 pins. Well, those pins go in corresponding holes on the body back here, and I had to open those holes up with the number 11 blade. The body wouldn't fit down onto those marks without opening the holes. Also, be careful. This part here is fairly thin, and it's very easy to get it caught on the side of the interior tub there, and you can bend them in. So be careful with that as well. The glass popped right in there. It pops in from the inside. It goes right down into little grooves. The windows pop right in. You can pop a little Mod Podge on there, and you're done. So I do have to touch up this little side piece here on each window. Another word of advice on the, let me grab the sheet here. Now what I did is I made a copy of this window painting template, and this piece here, now it says cut out the center on the inside, and you put that against the back window. Well, that's all floppy and stuff. I tried taping it down, it still didn't sit down. The window's curved, this is flat. I tried curving the paper, everything. When I went to put that on, it messed up on me. And when I say messed up on me, it looked terrible. And in my attempt to get it cleaned off of there, well, I got most of it. I still have a ghosty little outline of it on the glass. So if you're not real confident about doing those templates, try it, but I can't guarantee you're going to get good results. For those of you that know how to use those and you use them well, you probably won't have any issues. It kicked my butt. So I'm just going to leave that portion alone. Now, it does help with the black around the windows, the front and back windows. It helps with that. The side windows, I masked those off and painted those, and you saw that in the video where I masked that off and I sprayed those with gloss black. And, well, semi-gloss black. It's not really a gloss black. Alright, well, we're coming into, like I said, coming into the home stretch. We should be finished up here in just a little bit, and so I'll be back with the final. Welcome back to the final on the 2021 Dodge Charger by AMT. This was an all-new tooling kit, and let me say, the tolerances and things like that are really tight. They're nice. The car went together beautifully, and it's well, almost without a hitch, actually. Just a few minor things, hardly worth mentioning. I had to enlarge some of the alignment holes, whether they were just too tight or it was because there was a layer of paint on them. Either one of those, okay. I just had to open them up a little bit so the pins would fit in the holes. Other than that, that stupid paper window masking. I did okay with the border around the windows. That turned out really well. It was to put that, they called for a dark gray mask over the top of the back window, and the high mounted brake light was supposed to be part of that, and that was supposed to be a decal. If you looked on the decal sheet, the high mounted brake light was gray, not red, which I didn't understand. But anyway, it still turned out really good looking, even without all that silliness. So I decided to do a mist of pearl coat. I added some pearl mica powder to my clear coat, just to give that patriotic blue a little kick. The color was nice. I really liked it, but I wanted something that would, give it a little kick. So I did that. That color of blue actually reminds me of the Michigan State police cars. They're about the same color blue. They might be a shade darker, but it's very close, which gives me an idea about the Charger Pursuit car that they have out, the AMT has out. I've been looking for one of those locally. Haven't been able to track one down yet. I would order it. It's available through like Amazon with free shipping, but I'm a little bit afraid to pull the trigger on that, because the last 2 cars I ordered through Amazon, the shipper just slapped the shipping label right on the kit box and sent it. And when I got the boxes, both of them were just beat up, and I was just lucky that nothing was damaged on the inside of the boxes. Every place else, they want a pretty high price for shipping, and I'm kind of a cheapskate. I'll admit it. I'm kind of a cheapskate. That's why I use the craft paints and things like that. I believe that you can have a model build look fantastic even with cheap craft paints, and I prove it quite often. Well, I didn't do it on this one, but anyway, I hope that you enjoyed this video. I know it ran a little long, but when I talk in them, it lengthens the video. Let me know if you prefer that in the comments section. Let me know if you prefer me talking through things or just show the building and then talk at the end. Either way, leave a comment in the comment section below, and I'll get back to you as quickly as I can. But if you prefer, you can contact me through my email at scaleautoguy@gmail.com. Be sure to follow me on Facebook. And if you want more videos like this one, make sure to hit that subscribe button below. Thanks for watching Scale Auto Guy's Workbench, and I'll see you on the next build.